the genesis of the book sort of begins last year when I was in Japan, and I spent a couple of months studying the manga industry because I was really interested. One of my kids was a manga fan. I became a fan of manga and graphic novels. I saw it really exploding in the United States, and wanted to see what it was all about. So I ended up getting this fellowship, and my family and I went over, my wife and our 3 kids, to Tokyo, and I spent a couple of months studying the manga industry, which is really, really interesting. Talking to manga critics, manga publishers, manga creators, just to get a sense of what this is all about. And one of the big takeaways in Japan, in manga, and it's very hard for Americans to understand, because it's in some ways it's visceral, is that comics in Japan have a totally different place than comics in the U.S. Comics in the U.S. are like mostly for kids and for geeks. Comics in Japan are ubiquitous. If you had the equivalent of Michigan Avenue, in Tokyo or any other kind of city, you could not go more than a block or 2 without seeing it. In weekly comic magazines, the bookstores are dominated by shelf after shelf after shelf of this, and you also have manga for. The reason for that is you have manga for adults as well. So you can get, I didn't bring it with me, I have it in my bag in my hotel, manga for political topics. You want to know about the dangers of nationalism? Here's a 200-page manga about that. You want to know about how to manage your time. We were talking about David Allen, getting things done.
Right.
All right, I don't know if you guys, yeah. All right, and I'm a devotee of that as a parent. In fact, I was showing him my inbox. Here's my portable inbox with the label. So I'm a devotee of that. But there's a fairly popular time management guide there. It's in manga. So you have all these different ways of using it. And so this got me thinking that in the United States, as popular as manga and graphic novels has become, we still have a very, very restricted idea of what it can be used for. And so I said, we think of it as manga, especially for only people under 17, and graphic novels have really become very kind of literary. So it's either this incredibly highbrow thing, or it's for kids. And so this is a business proposition. There's like a huge amount of space between 16-year-olds and people who read literary novels. And so that's one part of the thinking behind it. The second part of the thinking behind it is that, again, going to as a writer, as a prose person, one of the things you realize as a writer, or I realize as a writer, particularly if it comes to topics like careers, is that books can't provide tactical information. It's useless for books to provide tactical information. It's actually, the more I think about it, the more I think it's like you got to be crazy to put tactical information in a book, especially career information. So if you want to know, what keywords to put in a resume, or when people want to know what a company does, or that kind of stuff, people go online. So you put it in a book, and it becomes stale as soon as it gets memorialized, and it becomes more stale when it's on the store shelves, and it costs money, and you can't search it. So it makes no sense. So, but I think that what books can do is give people strategic information. So this thing is, this book is built around the 6 lessons that you know about, but those 6 lessons are basically 6 lessons that I wish I had known 25 years ago. And strategic lessons, big picture lessons that elude Googling. And so that's what I tried to do, and I tried to do it in a way that was, that hadn't been done before, providing strategic information. And also, again, one of the big takeaways about manga as an art form in Japan is speed. Manga is fast. It is fast. It is all about speed. And if you watch people reading manga in Japan, they're just going, you're just ripping through it in a really cool, interesting way. And so, this book, as I've told people before, this book is, if it takes longer than an hour to read, I have failed. It's designed for speed, and it's designed for someone ripping through it and people passing it around. And there's some, we'll talk about it if you want later, there's some design features of the book itself that are orchestrated to, or intended to kind of grease the wheels even a little bit more to make it go even faster. And so that's Johnny Bunko. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, we got another one. And I'm sorry, it's a 2-camera shot. I'm not used to this. This is how, This is Johnny Bunko.